Well, I have something to give you.
I love surprising my friends, but this one started with the biggest surprise of my lifetime, my dog Luna having unexpected puppies. And she had quite a few of them, at least 10 to be exact. She actually had 12. This is her face when she found that out. It was actually my face too, so I drove her downstate to someone that would deliver and raise them.
Time has come. Luna has started to go into labor.
But life had other plans, conveniently on the side of the interstate in rural Illinois, where I delivered puppies. And I would be lying if I said this was on my bingo card. But watching my sweet Luna become a mom was more amazing than I could have ever imagined. That I imagined. And you can probably also imagine I was very emotionally invested in these puppies having the best homes. Enter my friend Rachel, who just so happened to be looking for a silver male. And honestly, it felt like a sign because I only had one puppy left, and that puppy became Blaze.
Consensus? I want him. I want him real good.
While I soaked up a few more weeks of puppy cuddles, out in the desert, sweet Callie was getting ready to meet her new younger brother.
Come on, so we don't shit on the plane.
This is Blaze.
I knew Blaze found his perfect home. What made it even better was Callie. She became his family, played with him, showed him the ropes, took him under her wing. Callie was the heart of Rachel's desert home. And it took a little time for things to catch on, but at the end of the day, Callie raised him too. And one of her favorite things in the entire world was carrying a balloon in her mouth. Like, really loved it. So, of course, she showed him how to do that too. But I knew I had to include that. In September 2023, Callie unexpectedly passed away. And as you can imagine, that completely devastated Rachel. They came to the desert together and made this their home. And even though she's gone, the love she left behind is still everywhere. So I wanted to create something special to honor her memory, something Rachel can keep forever. And of course, making it like I do, procrastinating to the last minute, but we'll start from the beginning.
This thing on. This piece has become my Roman Empire. I cannot stop thinking about it. This is gonna be so good. Buckle up.
Now, basically everything in this sign is going to be handmade because that's how I best connect with the piece. And I love the challenge, a little bit of a masochist, and I don't have much patience for machines. But I do use my Cricut I got years ago, so I dust it off the shelf, literally only for templates. But it allows me to make the pieces fit so tight because that's how we like it. When I say I'm like a kid in a candy shop when I'm doing this part, and pretty much all of Intarsia, I mean it, because you're literally playing with stickers and pretty woods. I mean, how much better can it get? But with that being said, I forget to eat and drink and take care of myself because I get so hyper fixated on whatever I'm doing. So consider this your reminder to go get a snack, including dog tags.
Oh my god, what the fuck? These eyes are just nailed.
So woodworking has actually ruined my life in that I can't look at a single picture or logo and not immediately think of how I would make it out of wood. And this specific picture has been living rent-free in my brain for I don't even know how long. So being able to put all of these pieces together is honestly the most satisfying itch to my ADHD brain ever. Just in the eye alone, we have ebony, purple heart, olive wood, maple. There's probably a couple others I can't even remember. But it really is so magical to me, bringing all of these different woods together to bring this piece to life. It really just reminds you that every single detail matters. And that is what I love. Almost as much as I love the girl math, where I say, oh, this isn't going to take very long, and then it takes me 30 hours, but it's a labor of love. It's fine. And given that I would literally sacrifice my life for dogs, 30 hours isn't a whole lot, especially if it's spent immortalizing that bond we have with them. That bond that never leaves, even after they do. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't been trying to teach my dogs how to sand. The whole not opposable thumb situation's making it a little difficult, but we're taking it day by day. And if I had to save 2 things from my shop in a fire, it would be hands down my Festool orbital sander and wood glue, because they do the Lord's work in hiding all my little imperfections. Because yes, I am human and I'm very impatient when I'm cutting, and I drop each piece at least 10 times. And sometimes you never see them again, but usually the second time around they look better anyway. So I don't know, just trying to be a glass half full girly.
Gonna risk it all.
I actually have yet to finish a piece without cutting something apart in the final moments after it's completed, but it's always a better result, and I know nobody else will notice because nobody's as neurotic as I am, but that means I can sleep at night. So step 2 was to make the sweet little nose, which I feel like it's actually a crime to mess up a very boopable nose. So, I was sweating the entire time, but we made it work. And I am such a sucker for these little inlays because of that. And that. And honestly, I wing the shaping every single time. I just kind of go at it with my rotary tool and just figure it out.
I feel like such a Boy Scout sometimes.
And who knows, maybe it's the fact that this rotary tool is not only easy to use, but it's technically dentistry grade, which I think is actually crazy. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it gives me a little bit of an ego, and I'm like, I can shape anything with this thing. So I just like start it, and I don't know, it hasn't let me down yet. So all the different coloring and spotted parts of her snout were so fun to me. I loved getting all the dimension and the inlays and just incorporating all the woods together. And you have to remember that with intarsia, precision is key, which is why you always want to just hope for the best. And I used a lot of different tools for shaping. I used my rotary tool, my orbital, my belt sander, all kind of depending on what I need to shape and how I need to shape it. And then I go in with the glue trick I was talking about to make it look like I'm perfect when I'm so far from it. And I love gluing pieces together as I go versus having everything separate and gluing it later, especially with this intarsia, which is probably the first intarsia piece where I've really done more intricate shaping in the piece rather than shaping the pieces first and then gluing them together. So you just kind of go with the vibes. That's my motto. And then if you get really lucky, it works out.
Oh, this looks so good.
And since the specific curly maple I picked out was only 1/4 inch thick and I wanted more dimension with the snout to the head and the head to the body, I did some bumpers on the bottom. This one looks really ugly, but you're not going to see it. Yes, it bothers me too. So we both have to deal with this together. It's trauma bonding. And as much as we all hate sanding, I do love the shaping and the sanding. Just every little bit brings it more and more to life, and the vision that I have in my head that I need to get out. And this part specifically, I was realizing as I was going, I needed that ridge to hit more in the center of that snout part. So I did some more shaping there. Pulled out, of course it was all glued together, so I had to get kind of creative with a bunch of my rotary tool bits, but like I said before, there's nothing you can't do with this thing. And this is the part I like to call artistic decision making and not covering up the fact that they don't fit together perfectly.
That's just too much curly maple.
And next up was sweet little Callie's balloon.
100% doing that.
Do you guys know those carts that they have at checkouts to make you buy more things? Well, I'm a huge sucker for them, and the Spalted Hackberry is one of those. I actually bought like 12 sticks of it. It's fine. But I thought it was perfect for the balloon. I wanted something that was lighter and had just something cool to it. I always lean towards curly maple, but there's so much of that already with Callie herself.
God, that smells like asshole.
That was very accurate. It smells terrible. But I looked over at this hoarded pile of wood and saw this hackberry and knew it immediately had to be the balloon.
God, that's so cute.
Scalpels are actually probably my most used tool in the shop because they're accurate, but also I think a little homage to my history in medicine. Now I'm gonna do a quick plug for my Pegasus. I absolutely love this scroll saw. I used to have a DeWalt. It's just not even the same league. And I love that the arm stays up, so you have to hold it because I'm just a girl. I will quite literally never get over those sounds. But hey, remember when I just completely disregarded grain pattern with the balloon? Like the one important thing about Intarsia. I wanted the grain to be kind of sticking out from where the little nib of the balloon would be.
I want to get that in there. Oh, tell me that's perfect. Yep. Oh, please.
Remember when I said second time around it's almost always better? Well, this inlay and the grain itself was a very good example of that. Because look at those margins. Oof. We're still training the whole dog sanding situation. Currently, she just wants to eat the wood, but I feel like we're getting closer. And like I said, belt sander is a really good sanding method for taking off a lot of material. And like most things, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I went in having no idea how I was going to differentiate the shading. And then I noticed the darker parts of curly maple pieces I had that I thought ruined the pieces, but they actually were perfect for the shading and ridge lines.
There's kind of that line that goes in the wood there that kind of mimics this top of the paw, which is absolutely perfect. We love that. All right.
And Christmas came early because after the balloon situation, I made sure to be very intentional with my green patterns for the feet, so I didn't have to recut any of them, and that single-handedly saved my mental health. And you may be like, oh, I want to learn from her. She knows what she's doing. But I regret to inform you, I do not. Like, I'm not kidding. I am completely flying by the seat of my pants.
I can't believe you did this. Look at her little nails.
Now, I kind of unintentionally left the hardest for last.
I'm matching them up with the green. Try and just keep these simple. Those are freaking tiny. Done.
These were so small, I had to actually take my own nails off. Which people wonder how I do woodworking at all with them. But they actually protect my fingers, especially when I go crazy with the belt sander.
Oh yeah.
Some people go to therapy. I scroll and smooth brain. I also go to therapy. Therapy's great. I do think it's a general consensus among us scroll sawers, say that 10 times fast, that during scroll sawing is basically the only time our brain shuts off, which is quite literally a lifesaver. For my next trick, I'm going to make all of this 1/4 inch material look dimensional. So there's gonna be quite a bit of shaping and sanding, and then more shaping and sanding and more sanding and shaping. But we get there. And one of my shaping soapboxes is if it's a piece that's butting up to another and behind it, do not round it over, guys. Just trust me. It looks so much more realistic when you slope it down but leave that edge sharp. Now, I told you there'd be more sanding and shaping. but making that bone ridge made such a difference. And I'm pretty sure Callie wouldn't care about the details, but I do. So here we are. Someone had asked me, why don't you just print a picture and make a really beautiful frame to go around it? And I'm like, well, where's the chaos in that? It seems way too simple and easy, and that's not my jam.
So this is that bottom breast piece. So I kind of want some lighter on the tip here. And then if I could possibly get some darker shading and a gradient, that would be ideal. We'll see what we can find here.
Now, it may look like I'm just haphazardly placing stickers like a kid, and I am a child, but I was overly intentional with kind of where the curls hit the piece, light and dark. I don't know. It's because I aggressively focus on tiny details that no one will notice but me. All of the bits and burrs that I use are cut saw and or from Bare Woods, and I have that linked below. And the ears here are one of the last parts before we move on to finishing everything, aka obsessing for a really long time, but I didn't include a lot of that for your own mental sanity. And speaking of, here's a peek at my mental sanity going down the drain at incredible speeds when I realized I didn't like that part of the ear, so I had to cut it off completely. And it was worth it. It shaped better, it looked better, even if I lost a couple years off my life. And it was really important to make it just look more seamless because really this is all part of one ear. It's just shading and not like different parts of the ear. And like I had mentioned before, I had to bring that snout up and I was just filling in a gap so you couldn't really see that. And then lifted the head up so it was taller than the body. And then had to, I just had to fill gaps and stuff. That's just what we do. And a lot of this could have been prevented with sufficient planning, but that's not how I roll because I like chaos. And I think the masochist in me likes the never-ending problem solving and the dopamine boosts that come with them. If you know, you know. And I, of course, had to really put in that forehead fold because Callie was a chunk and the bulldog skin folds just are the cutest thing in the entire world. And by now you might be realizing the whole shaping, sanding, endless cycle was not a joke. We are getting close, but
I really do need to work on getting this to approximate better and smoothing this over so it looks seamless. And then I'm done. Maybe we're not, I don't know.
At this point in my life, I'm pretty convinced that I'm never actually done until I literally am forced to be done because otherwise I'd miss my flight. Then we get into the whole figuring out which backer because, of course, I didn't plan that ahead either. I just kind of go with the vibes.
I did not have white oak on my bingo card for this backer, but I'm digging that. Sold.
I realized I must have had a lot of good karma in the bank because I had just the right amount of project boards on hand. The lumber store was closed at this point, and I needed to make the backer right now or I wouldn't have made my flight.
So I have these boards that are project boards, and they're pretty milled, but they need a little bit of love. And by that I mean they get jointed together. I currently do not have a jointer, so I use my table saw. And I will show you how I do that with a little bit of scrap wood and double-sided tape.
If you're anything like me, you get very frustrated with knowing there's a tool out there that you could have and it would do the job perfectly and quickly, and you don't have it. But then you keep kicking the can down the road. That's me. With basically anything that comes to milling, I don't have a whole lot of space. I've been waiting to upgrade and I'm about to upgrade and I'm holding on. But this method does work. Booyah. Remember that whole low on space situation? That also requires my saw stop to double as a glue up table, which isn't ideal, but we make the best of it. And I am very grateful for what I do have. I am excited to have a bigger space where I can film better, I can move around, also dance more, because that's also very important in the creative process. So is using your finger to spread glue, even when you have sensory issues and know that you hate it. But these Bessie clamps do the Lord's work. They got your backers so nice and square. Even when you don't have all the proper machinery, they just come out so great. And even though OSHA's like gone now, I think, they do still send me love letters.
Does this work comp? Can we fall?
Mostly because I'm really good at following rules. I am a self-proclaimed rule follower.
She stuck the landing. Hydrate. More workout here. Didn't think that through.
It is 11:30 on Tuesday. I leave at 6 a.m. on Thursday, and I don't even have the backer. I think I've been girl bossing a little too close to the sun here, because I need to have the frame glued up so that I can seal it, and that means I'm gonna stay up.
Don't be like me.
Hey, look, more sanding. I'm just kidding. There's not much more of that left. But fortunately, there's still plenty of time for me to make big mistakes, meaning I fly out in about 24 hours, which means I barely have enough time to finish, let alone if I made a huge mistake.
Oh, that would look so cool. I kind of dig that.
I knew I was going to do sapele for the frame, and then I found that leopard wood, and I was like, oh, inner frame? I think yes. And I'm also very particular with the proportion of my frame to the piece. I do not like chunky frames, and I don't like them protruding too far out, but they need to protrude further out than the tallest part of the sign. We were able to nail a pretty cute sapele frame, got those sanded a little bit. I spared you of the sanding footage because I love you. And then I always do channeled frames. I think they're more sturdy. I like how they sit. That was the first pass, and I do it to the thickness of the backer so it slides on perfectly. Then we cut the miters. You clench a little bit because you don't have anything extra to work with if you mess up. I'm telling you, I had some good karma in the bank because these ended up coming out perfectly. We got to play with some compound cuts for this part of the double frame because it butts up to a curved part of the balloon. I wanted to be as flush as possible, and honestly, the scroll saw ends up being the best tool for me in that, because look at that. I mean, how else am I supposed to do that with another tool? Bada bing, bada boom. Come on, that's so good. I know there's probably a better science to this, but I go off of vibes. And then of course some wood glue for those inner channels, and then we clamp this stuff together. And this is about that time where I start feeling super confident, which is also when something goes wrong. Like realizing the ear was a completely wrong color. So perfect timing for that. Do you hear that? That was the sound of my dreams being crushed. We fixed it pretty fast though, and then we were all smiles again. For now. I'm gonna be honest, I usually am better with spreading glue around, at least these days. This is an old video, but I always use wood glue and then CA glue to clamp it down. And I could stop here, but I won't because I have a problem. And I thought now would be the time to make a spline jig because I haven't done splines in a while. And my old jig was flimsy. It broke. It got thrown out a long time ago. But obviously 4:30 a.m. the day before my flight is the perfect time to be doing this. Is the jig perfect? Probably not. Do I want to hear your thoughts on it? No, I don't. Again, I know this isn't the most legitimate jig, but it worked perfectly fine for me. I figured I could measure this again and be like super OCD about it, or I could trust my gut. Want to guess which one I chose? Not the first one. I came up with this super official mock-up of how I wanted the splines to look. I've never done a triple spline before. I can't remember the last time I did a single spline, and of course I won this and got real lucky. Callie must have been looking over me because there's a million things that could have gone wrong here. So maybe I'm God's favorite for the day. Whatever it was, I'm not complaining. I loved picking out these splines to really complement woods in the piece, and I think they did so without being too overpowering and really blending in with the sapele. I ended up cutting better splines to more tightly fit and glued them properly, but did not get that on video. It was not my priority. I was trying to finish the piece.
We're here. We're doing it. We just about made it, and I fly out at 6 a.m. Stayed up all night, did a nice all-nighter, which actually I really enjoyed until, you know, one morning hit. Regardless, almost done. Just have to clean up the splines, do a little touch-up sanding, and spray this baby with some lacquer, aka the part I've been waiting for since before I even started. So let's go.
And like I said, this is old footage, so it's before I got my flush cut saw and my chisels, which I would and do now use, but this does the trick. Gets the bulk off and then you sand it. Now I chisel it. That's the face I was talking about, but we're genuinely almost done. And I mean that for once. And if there's one thing I love more than spinning signs on a lazy Susan, it's lacquer, which this was my first time using it, but it was so forgivable. It saved my life. And some people wear aprons. I wear a robe. We are not the same. Normally I put French cleats on my pieces. They're also typically a little bit bigger, and I just thought that'd be a little overkill. Also, remember when I said my nails helped me? Well, they're not always that convenient. So I just put these little, I don't know what they are, toothed hangers on the back. And finally, a little scuff sand before my last coat of lacquer. Oof, that's what I'm talking about. And I made it just in time because this is like an hour before I had to leave for the airport. And there was no amount of paper that was going to keep my entire suitcase from not smelling like lacquer, but I chose this fight. I was so excited to be back in California. I'd actually only been there once, and it was when I brought Blaze.
I am so nervous to open up these signs. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Clear. She made it. Welcome to Cali, Callie.
It was honestly very surreal being back here. It felt like it's been so long and I've lived so many lives since then, but Blaze has gotten so big and there have been quite a few additions to the house, including Mr. Leo, who I think likes belly scratches more than dogs.
Oh my goodness, you are so big.
And as excited as I was to surprise Rachel, this was more than just doing that.
Oh my god.
It was about giving her something she didn't even know she needed.
Huh? You done? Filming your contest?
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring my flowers in real quick. You wanna go grab a bite? Sure. This is like when you want to leave, you're like, all right, hold on, I gotta get my pig inside. Like,
Normal things.
really normal. Just like, I'm right here and I'm not moving.
Well, I have something to give you.
No, I'm gonna cry. Oh my god, Jess. Oh my god. The wood is beautiful. What the fuck? Oh my god. I can't believe you did this. Look at her little nails. It looks just like her. Oh my god. What the fuck? You just nailed. Oh my god.
I know, like, you gave Blaze a home, but like, I know Blaze had two.
Oh my god, it is so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty because your sister.
Remember
your sister? You remember?
He helps me hide it.
And he hates when I crack it. He's like, wait, what are these waters I drink from your face? It's okay. I'm okay. They're happy tears. You're so shiny. She's like so pretty. What the fuck did you put? This is just a grain of wood?
Yeah, it's curly maple.
Cali maple?
Curly maple.
Oh, I was like, what? There's a tree named that? I just started crying. I was like, we need to plant those everywhere. My brain's like overloaded. So, that's insane. Fuck all this stupid art. Like, I'm just gonna hang this right here.
Let's take it all down.
I just love this because I know her. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you can feel her, like looking at you at the balloon. Like, you know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. What the fuck? I love you more. What the hell? I'm losing it. That is the best birthday present I can get. That. Oh, I love it so much.
I started the Living Timber Code to give wood a second life, and I think this does exactly that. Welcome back, Callie.